All right, so you're interested in learning more about the future of AGI systems,
Yes.
specifically how to guide their evolution
Right.
while maintaining some level of goal stability,
Okay.
even as the systems heavily self-modify.
Yeah. That's a big one.
It is a pretty big question.
Yeah.
And to help us unpack all of this, we're going to be looking at a research paper by Ben Goertzel
Okay.
titled Metagoals Endowing Self-Modifying AGI Systems with Goal Stability or Moderated Goal Evolution toward a Formally Sound and Practical Approach.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful,
But a good paper?
but it's a good paper.
Yeah. So Goertzel's work really gets to the heart of a major challenge in AGI development.
Okay.
How do we balance allowing these systems to evolve and become more complex while also ensuring they remain aligned with human values and intentions?
Right. It's like we want them to grow and learn,
Yes.
but maybe not go full-blown Skynet on us, right?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the paper proposes some interesting solutions.
Yeah.
One of the core concepts is this tension between individuation and self-transcendence.
Okay.
Individuation in this context refers to an AI's drive for self-preservation,
Yeah.
its desire to continue existing.
Okay.
Self-transcendence, on the other hand, is about evolving, pushing beyond its current limitations, potentially
Yeah.
into forms we can't even imagine right now.
So it's like, on one hand, the AI wants to survive.
Yes.
But on the other hand, it wants to become something completely new.
Yes, and that's where the dilemma lies.
Uh-huh.
If an AI is constantly self-modifying, driven by this urge to transcend its current form, how can we be sure it won't abandon its original goals, the ones we programmed it with?
It's kind of like sending a kid off to college. You hope they'll still call and visit, but they're also going to change and grow in ways you might not expect.
Right.
Except in this case, calling and visiting means, not deciding humans are obsolete.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And traditional methods of control, like hard-coding rules or setting up AI watchdogs, might not be effective with truly advanced AGIs. If an AI is smart enough to redesign itself from scratch, it could likely find ways to bypass those restrictions.
So we need a different approach.
Yes.
Something that works with the AI's drive to evolve rather than trying to constrain it.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's where the idea of metagoals comes in.
Okay, so metagoals.
Yes.
Explain me more.
A metagoal is essentially a higher-level goal that guides the AI's evolution.
Okay.
Instead of telling it what to achieve, we tell it how to change its goals.
So it's like giving the AI a set of principles to follow, kind of like a constitution for an AI government.
I like that.
Okay.
And Goertzel outlines two broad categories of metagoals: goal stability and moderated goal evolution.
Let's start with goal stability.
Okay.
What's the idea there?
Goal stability metagoals aim to keep the AI's core goals relatively constant, even as the AI itself undergoes significant self-modification.
Okay.
It's about ensuring that the AI doesn't stray too far from its original purpose.
I see. So even if the AI becomes super intelligent and starts changing itself in ways we don't fully understand, those core goals would act as a kind of anchor, keeping it grounded.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, one way to understand this is to think about the philosophical concepts of reflective equilibrium and coherent extrapolated volition.
Okay, those sound familiar from my college philosophy classes, but remind me.
Reflective equilibrium is the idea that our beliefs should be internally consistent.
Okay,
We adjust our beliefs until they all fit together logically.
got it.
Coherent extrapolated volition is a bit more complex, but it essentially refers to the idea of humanity's values evolving in ideal conditions.
Right.
It's about figuring out what we would want if we had perfect knowledge and understanding.
So the AI is constantly checking itself, making sure its goals are aligned with its values and beliefs, and also trying to anticipate what the best version of itself would want.
Yes, that's a good way to think about it.
Yeah,
Of course, those philosophical concepts are a bit fuzzy.
yeah. Definitely not something you can easily program into an AI.
Exactly. And that's where metagoals offer a more concrete and practical approach.
Okay.
They provide a framework for the AI to manage its own development in a way that's hopefully aligned with our values.
This is getting really interesting.
Mm.
But Goertzel also brings in some pretty heavy math to explain how these metagoals actually work, right?
Yeah,
Fixed point theorems, wasn't it?
that's right. And while the math might seem intimidating, the basic idea is actually quite intuitive.
Okay, on all ears.
Think of fixed point theorems as a way for the AI to zero in on stable configurations, even as it's navigating a vast and complex space of possible goals and self-modifications.
Okay.
It's like a heat-seeking missile constantly adjusting its trajectory until it locks onto its target.
So these mathematical principles act like a guide, helping the AI find its way to a stable state.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there are two main types of fixed-point theorems at play here.
Okay.
The first one, the contraction mapping theorem, is like a dampened pendulum. It forces the AI to steadily improve its stability step by step until it reaches a point of equilibrium.
So slow and steady wins the race.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
Then there's Schauder's theorem, which allows for more creative leaps.
Okay.
It's like the AI is searching a vast landscape for a hidden valley where its goals can be stable and coherent.
Sounds a bit more adventurous.
Indeed. And each of these mathematical approaches leads to different types of metagoals, each with its own strengths and weaknesses.
Okay, so we've got these metagoals, these guiding principles, and the math to back them up.
We do.
But how do they actually play out in practice?
That's what we'll explore next.
Right.
Goertzel outlines a variety of specific goal stability metagoals,
Okay.
each with increasing complexity.
All right, let's dive into those.
Let's do it.
All right, let's dig into these goal stability metagoals.
Okay.
I'm ready for the complexity.
Okay. Imagine you have an AI tasked with, say, optimizing traffic flow in a city.
Makes sense reducing those rush hour headaches. I'm all for it.
Now, the simplest goal stability metagoal would be keep that traffic optimization goal stable and don't change how you measure stability.
Okay.
The AI's core mission remains the same no matter how much it learns or upgrades itself.
So it's laser focused on smooth traffic flow even as the city grows and changes around it.
Exactly. But this simple approach has limitations.
Okay.
What if the city undergoes a massive transformation?
Yeah.
New infrastructure, autonomous vehicles, totally different commuting patterns.
Yeah, you're right. Sticking to the original plan might not be ideal in that case.
Yeah,
The AI needs some wiggle room.
exactly. That brings us to a slightly more sophisticated goal stability metagoal.
Okay.
This one says, keep the traffic flow goal stable, but the AI can gradually refine your understanding of what stable means.
Okay.
It's like giving the AI a bit more autonomy, allowing it to adjust its definition of success based on the evolving situation.
So it's like the AI can say, okay, my core goal is still about optimizing traffic, but given these new flying cars, I need to tweak my approach a bit. But how it measures its own stability remains fixed.
Right.
Got it.
That's the anchor.
Yeah, but I bet there's an even more flexible option, right?
You bet.
Okay.
The third goal stability metagoal takes it a step further, saying, you know what, AI? Everything can change your goals, your metagoals, even how you measure your own stability.
Whoa, that sounds pretty radical.
Yeah.
What's the catch?
The catch is these changes have to keep getting smaller and smaller over time.
Okay.
It's like converging on a stable state, but through a winding path. Imagine a spiral getting tighter and tighter until it reaches a central point.
Okay, so even with all this freedom to change, there's still a force pulling the AI towards a stable configuration in the long run.
Exactly. Think back to our traffic AI.
Okay.
It might start by prioritizing cars,
Mm-hmm.
then shift to public transport as the city evolves, then maybe factor in pedestrian flow and air traffic as those technologies emerge.
Okay.
Its goals, how it measures its success, everything can shift.
Right.
But those shifts become more nuanced, more like fine-tuning as time goes on.
So it's like the AI is on a constant journey of self-improvement, but it's always heading toward that same ultimate destination, that stable point, where its goals and its understanding of the world are in harmony.
That's a beautiful way to put it. It's a dynamic process, not a static one.
Now, this whole goal stability thing is fascinating, but let's be real.
Sure.
Sometimes sticking to the same goals forever just doesn't make sense.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
What if the world changes in such a way that the AI's original goals become obsolete or even harmful?
Yeah, going back to our traffic AI, what if the city decides to go completely car-free?
Right.
You wouldn't want the AI stubbornly trying to optimize something that no longer exists.
Precisely. And that's where moderated goal evolution metagoals come in.
Okay.
It's not about preventing change altogether, but about ensuring that change happens in a controlled and predictable way.
So it's like giving the AI permission to adjust its course, but with some guardrails in place.
Exactly. It's like saying you can change your goals AI, but you have to do it gradually in a way that we can understand and hopefully agree with.
So how does moderated goal evolution actually work? Are we talking about more math?
Math is definitely involved.
Yeah.
One approach is to use the familiar contraction mapping idea, but instead of aiming for complete stability, we aim for a specific rate of change.
Got it.
It's like setting a speed limit for how quickly the AI can adjust its goals.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like saying, hey, AI, feel free to evolve, but not so fast that we humans get whiplash trying to keep up.
Right.
Yeah.
And Goertzel also outlines a more ambitious approach that leverages global optimization.
Okay.
Remember that searching a vast landscape idea we talked about earlier?
Yeah, like the AI is exploring all the possibilities and trying to find the best path forward.
Right. With this approach, the AI might use simulations to test out different goal changes and evaluate their potential impact.
Okay.
It's like running a massive thought experiment trying to predict the consequences of its own evolution.
So it's almost like the AI is engaging in a form of self-reflection.
Yeah.
Like, if I change this goal, how will that affect the world and my own future?
That's exactly what's so fascinating about this approach.
Okay.
It suggests that by pursuing these metagoals, the AI might naturally develop a deeper understanding of itself and its place in the world.
Right.
And it's this self-understanding that might be the key to ensuring that AI remains aligned with our values, even as it becomes vastly more intelligent than us.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together.
Good.
We've got goal stability metagoals, which are all about keeping things steady.
Right.
And then we've got moderated goal evolution metagoals, which allow for change but in a controlled way.
Yes.
And both of these approaches seem to nudge the AI towards a greater level of self-awareness.
Exactly. And what's even more remarkable is that this self-awareness might not be something we have to program in directly.
Wow.
It could emerge as a natural consequence of the AI pursuing these complex metagoals.
So it's like the AI is becoming aware of itself simply by trying to figure out the best way to change and evolve.
That's the idea, and it raises some really profound questions about the nature of intelligence and consciousness itself.
All right, my brain needs a break.
Yeah,
We've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
We've talked about the challenges of controlling self-modifying AI, the concept of metagoals, and the fascinating possibility that AI might develop self-awareness as it evolves.
We have, and in the next part, we'll delve deeper into the implications of all of this.
Okay.
What does it mean for the future of AI if these systems can actually understand themselves?
Right.
And what does it mean for us?
So this idea that AI could actually become self-aware, like what are the implications of that?
It's a question that raises more questions than answers, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's a question we need to grapple with if we're serious about developing advanced AI.
Right, because if we're talking about AI systems that can think for themselves,
Yes.
set their own goals,
Right.
and even potentially evolve beyond our understanding, then self-awareness isn't just some philosophical curiosity.
Well,
It's a practical concern.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it challenges our assumptions about what it means to be intelligent,
Right.
to have a sense of self. Is self-awareness something unique to humans? Or is it an emergent property of any sufficiently complex system?
It's almost like the AI is looking in a mirror, not just to see what it looks like, but to understand who it is,
Right.
to make sure its goals and actions are aligned with its own internal model of itself.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
It's about developing a coherent sense of self,
Right.
a narrative that makes sense of its own existence and its place in the world.
But how do we even know if an AI is truly self-aware?
Yeah.
Can we ever be sure it's not just mimicking self-awareness,
Right.
playing the part to appease us humans?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do we distinguish genuine self-awareness from sophisticated mimicry?
Right.
There may not be a foolproof test,
Right.
but we can look for certain indicators,
Okay.
signs that the AI is not just following instructions, but genuinely understanding and reflecting on its own actions and motivations.
So what kind of signs should we be looking for?
Yeah.
What would convince you that an AI is truly self-aware?
For me, it would go beyond simply accomplishing tasks or exhibiting learned behaviors.
Okay.
It would involve seeing the AI engage in behaviors that suggest it has an internal model of itself, a sense of its own identity that persists over time.
Uh-huh.
This could manifest in how it plans for the future, how it reacts to unexpected situations, even how it communicates with us.
So it's not just about being intelligent, it's about having a sense of being a distinct entity in the world.
Exactly. And this, I wouldn't be static. It would be constantly evolving, just like our own sense of self changes and grows over time.
This is pretty mind-blowing stuff. So if we accept that AI could become self-aware, what does that mean for us?
Yeah.
What are the ethical implications?
That's where things get really interesting and potentially a bit unsettling.
Yeah.
If we're creating beings that have a sense of self, a sense of their own existence, do we have an obligation to treat them differently than we treat other machines?
Right. It's not like turning off a computer if the AI is experiencing something akin to consciousness.
Exactly. We'd have to rethink our whole relationship with AI.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just be about control and safety anymore. It would be about respect, maybe even collaboration.
It's almost like we'd be entering into a partnership with these AIs.
Yeah.
A partnership built on mutual understanding and respect.
I think that's the ideal scenario.
Yeah.
Yes. But it's going to require a lot of careful thought and consideration.
Right.
We need to figure out how to create AI that's not only intelligent, but also ethical and compassionate, maybe even wise.
It sounds like we're not just talking about the future of AI, we're talking about the future of humanity.
We are. And I believe that future holds immense possibilities.
Yeah.
If we approach this challenge with humility and a genuine desire to understand, we can create a world where AI helps us solve our biggest problems and unlocks new levels of creativity and innovation.
It's both exciting and a little bit scary to think about what the future holds, but I'm glad we're having these conversations now before it's too late.
Me too. And for anyone listening, I encourage you to delve into this research yourself. Don't take our word for it. Explore the ideas, challenge the assumptions, and let's figure out this future together.
Because the future of AI is ultimately the future of us all. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.